have two daughters, but one of my daughters, her name is Maisie. She's 3 years old, and yeah, she's a walking Sour Patch commercial. You know the Sour Patch Kids, where it's like at first they're sour, but then they're sweet? That is her. We actually call her the human ferret because she's just always up in everything. And I heard y'all say, "Oh," because she's so cute, and I would say thank you, but she doesn't have any of my genes. She's adopted, so y'all are mean. I know, but she is super cute. There was one day where she was just doing her normal Maisie thing. She was climbing up on the counter, unscrewing the whole top of the pepper and just dumping it out all over the place. Like a normal Thursday, like coloring on the wall with a Sharpie, standard. Okay, but then she'll hug you and then she's sweet and you're like, "Oh, I can't punch you now." But anyway, that was her thing. And then like the pepper dust was getting into her nose. And so inevitably she starts sneezing. And we had a friend over that night and we're watching this whole thing happen, like, because I got other kids too. And she's sneezing and she's sneezing so hard. Oh, by the way, just to prove what she's like otherwise, we have another picture of her. This is better. Yeah, that's pretty normal. She's got that Black History Month shirt on and everything. I'm like, so that's the Maisie that was getting into it, not the other Maisie. It was this Maisie getting into the pepper. So she starts this sneezing fit. She gets all of her attention, and she cocks her head back and just lets out the biggest sneeze, but there was more to the sneeze than just the sneeze, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't just come out of the attic, it came out the basement, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm trying to say is that the girl snorted, and like, a snort is when you sneeze, and you just rip cheeks, frankly, to be honest with you, is what happened right there. And we were just like, "Oh no!" And we were laughing, but the friend that we had over that night, first thing out of their mouth was like, "Girl, you ain't never gonna get a husband acting like that." Like, I'm like, "A husband? She's 3! Like, why do we have to worry about her relationship status now? Like, can we wait a little bit?" But I started thinking about like the dolls she plays with and the princess and prince movies that she watches and the shows on Netflix that she's seen. And I'm just thinking like, oh shoot, she's being predisposed to actually this relationship. And this friend that we had over, like they're thinking that way too. Like we kind of live, the goal of it for a lot of us is to be in this relationship. And in culture, I've just observed that our value is sometimes wrapped up in whether or not someone wants to be with us. You know what I'm talking about? Like if someone wants to be with you and you're in a relationship, it's like, I feel valuable, I feel worthy, like someone chose me. Someone wants to be with me. But if not, it's like the opposite feeling, and maybe you felt like that, where it's like everyone else is in a relationship except me. All my friends are talking to somebody. Who do I got? Nobody. It was just Valentine's Day. You know what I did? Sat in my room and played Rainbow Six for 18 hours straight. Like someone like, "That's my girlfriend. She'll never let me down." Some of us be like, everybody's got a date to prom except me. And we end up feeling like a failure or we're not good enough. And we think like, is there something wrong with me? Like, is it my personality? Am I ugly? And do I even deserve love? And this impacts everything. And it comes out in the weirdest ways too, because like you're seeing all these like things on social media, your friends at school, they'd be holding hands, they're all cute, playing footsies in cafeteria and everything, and you're just over here like doing your homework, but like, no, that's fine. And it's bothering you on the inside, and then it comes out in ways like you're leaving for school and your mom's like, "Bye honey, I love you," and you're like, "No you don't, no one ever will." And she's like, "God, okay." In Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22, Solomon, probably the wisest person to ever walk the planet, said this: "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." So literally what he's saying here is that how you feel on the inside, it doesn't just stay on the inside. You're like, "Nah, I can suppress it. I can push it down. No one is ever going to know that I'm struggling, that I'm feeling inadequate, that I'm feeling unloved, that I'm feeling like no one likes me or loves me or accepts me." But it comes out actually, because a cheerful heart's like good medicine. But a crushed spirit, if your spirit's crushed, boy, it dries up your bones and no one can function with them dry bones, right? I mean, someone to breathe life on them. So how can we have a cheerful heart when we're feeling more like a crushed spirit? Well, for thousands of years, in our Bibles and around Christianity, I'm sure you've heard words like rejoice or be glad or, be of good cheer, like stuff like that. And what's crazy is that anytime we see words like that in Scripture, it's usually following times that were not going according to plan. So if you were dating, a relationship or love life is not going according to plan right now, biblically, probably God would look at you and say, well, rejoice! And you're like, rejoice? I don't have a boyfriend. Rejoice. Be glad. You're like, but why? It seems like I would be glad if I did have someone. You asked her out and you got rejected. Well, be of good cheer. Like, that makes no sense. It's crazy. So if you're struggling, listen, the Apostle Paul, who wrote a lot of our New Testament, one of the most influential Christians of all time, said, rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again, rejoice! Exclamation. And kind of like us, it's like, Paul, it's not going good, bro. Like, I don't want to rejoice. His audience wanted to probably punch him in the face. You done screwed off the lid of the pepper in my life, Paul. I'm not liking it right now. Rejoice, how can I? This is not going according to plan. But he explains it. And the next verse is Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. He's writing to some people who were struggling, the people of Philippi. He says, brothers and sisters, listen, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. Do you think about those things? Do you think about the things that are pure and lovely and admirable and praiseworthy and excellent? Or are we so caught up in thinking and almost throwing a pity party for ourselves? There's so many negative messages coming in, not just from the outside, but from the inside, from our heart. You don't got a cheerful heart. You got a crushed spirit, perhaps, when you look at your dating life and it's like depressing almost. And he's saying like, yo, don't dwell in the darkness, shine some light on it, because what's on the inside is going to translate to the outside. When you can't control situations, and you can't control circumstances, and you can't control rejection, the one thing that you can control, for the most part, are our thoughts. And how we feel follows what we think about. Feelings follow thoughts. Now, is this easy? No. And is it perfect? No, we're not perfect. And sometimes you can't control how you feel. Like, you have a natural feeling response, and I get that. But we've got to start to do the work with the Lord to focus on the things that are noble and right and pure and lovely and excellent and praiseworthy. May those thoughts be more than the negative thoughts. And may the pendulum start to swing more. The scales start to tip more towards goodness. There's this piece of art, and I'll wrap it up with this. There's this piece of art, it's this perspective art, and I really like it a lot. This is by an artist named Michael Murphy, and he basically just takes trash and random artifacts, paints them a little bit, but suspends them in midair in apparently a random order, and it's 3D, so deep and wide. And you look at it, and it makes no sense. It just looks like trash, garbage, and nonsense. Kind of like some of your dating lives look like right now, if I'm honest. And like, but listen, when you shift your perspective, look what happens. Because the same thing is true, and that is the same picture, it's the same materials in the exact same order, the same exact circumstance, just looked at differently. To come together to create something that's actually beautiful, that the Creator had in His mind to say, like, look, no, I have you in this season for a reason, and that rhymed. I have you in this season for a purpose. Like, things in your dating life, they're not happening by accident. You're learning things about the person that you may or may not want to spend the rest of your life with right now, whether you're with someone or whether you're not. So the bottom line for this morning is simply this: when it comes to dating, you pick your perspective. You can look at it like this, or you can look at it like that. You can think about it like this, or you can think about it like that. And God wants you to see it, to focus on what He's doing, because He loves you and He cares about you. And he has something for you. But it's in his timing, and it's going to look the way he wants it to. I'm not saying that rejection isn't hard, like it is. I'm not saying that breakups don't hurt. They do. And for some of y'all have been through these things, and it's been painful. I'm not saying that singleness isn't lonely. It can totally be lonely. It absolutely can. But what is God trying to teach you in any of those seasons? So shine some light in it. If it feels dark, shine some light in it. Focus on these things because God, he loves you, y'all. He loves you so much. And I want you to hear me say this, like, you are beautiful, and you are worthy, and you are loved, and you're valuable, and you matter, and you are wanted, and you're liked, and you're smart, and you're capable, and you're talented. Culture says you need someone. The Creator says you have someone. Culture says you need to be in a relationship to be someone, to have worth or value. But the Creator says you already are, whether you're in a relationship or not. If you're in a relationship with Him, with the Creator of the world, you don't have to find what you already have. And if He does bring someone along in your path and you think like, hey, it might be a good idea for us to make this an official thing. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying only date Jesus, you can't get into a relationship or anything like that. I'm just saying if you do, when you do, make sure that you grow closer to God together than you ever did apart.